Something strange is happening in garages, farm shops, and online forums right now. Claims so bold that it sounds like it shouldn't even be possible. A $2 fluid that allegedly turns a slipping, shuddering automatic transmission back into something that shifts like it just rolled off the factory line. No rebuild, no $3,000 bill, no dealership upsell, just a cheap additive and a few minutes of work. And the wildest part? People are saying it's been quietly restricted or banned in multiple states. But here's where things get interesting, because once you actually dig into how automatic transmissions work and what modern fluids are designed to do, the truth becomes a lot more complicated than the viral story. And honestly, a lot more revealing, because this isn't just a story about a mystery fluid. It's a story about why transmissions fail in the first place, and why the internet keeps falling for miracle fixes that sound too simple to question. Let's break it down. If your transmission starts slipping, you usually feel it before you see it. A delay when you shift into drive, a shudder when you accelerate from a stop, a hesitation between second and third gear that slowly gets worse over time. And once that happens, most drivers hear the same sentence from a repair shop: it's probably worn out. You're looking at a rebuild. And that number hits hard, 3,000, sometimes 5, sometimes more. So when a video or post shows up claiming there's a $2 fluid that can fix it, it spreads fast. Because people aren't just looking for a fix, they're looking for an escape from a very expensive problem. But here's the reality most viral posts leave out. Automatic transmissions are not simple mechanical boxes. They're hydraulic systems, electronic control units, precision clutch packs, and carefully engineered friction materials all working together under extreme heat and pressure. Inside, your transmission fluid isn't just oil. It's a highly engineered hydraulic medium. It controls friction. It cools components. It maintains pressure. It helps clutch packs engage at exactly the right moment. So when someone claims a single cheap additive can universally restore all of that, you should immediately ask a simple question: if it really worked across all transmissions, why isn't every manufacturer using it already? Now let's talk about where this $2 fluid idea actually comes from. Most versions of this story trace back to older industrial or agricultural maintenance practices, where mechanics experimented with various additives in low-speed, heavy-duty equipment. In older machinery, tolerances were looser, speeds were lower, and fluids were far less specialized than modern automatic transmission fluid. Back then, experimentation was common. Some natural oils and compounds were tested for lubricating properties, sealing behavior, or friction modification in controlled environments. But here's the key difference. What works in a slow-moving agricultural gearbox is not automatically safe or effective in a modern electronically controlled transmission. That's where a lot of internet myths fall apart. They take an old context and apply it to a completely different engineering system. Modern transmissions rely heavily on friction stability. That might sound backwards, because we usually think less friction is better. But in a transmission, friction is not the enemy. Uncontrolled friction is. Clutch packs inside the transmission are designed to engage with very specific friction characteristics. If the friction is too high, you get harsh shifts. If it's too low, you get slipping. If it changes unpredictably, the transmission starts hunting between gears or overheating. That's why modern transmission fluid is so heavily engineered. It's not just oil, it's a calibrated chemical system. And when you introduce unknown additives into that system, you're not enhancing it, you're changing its behavior, sometimes unpredictably. This brings us to the viral claim that the fluid is banned in 12 states. This is where things tend to get distorted online. There is no widely recognized automotive law that bans a specific natural oil or fluid additive across multiple states in the way viral posts suggest. What does exist in many regions are regulations around automotive service practices, warranty compliance, and approved fluid specifications. In simple terms, repair shops are required to use manufacturer-approved fluids when servicing modern transmissions, not because alternative substances are mysteriously forbidden, but because transmission systems are designed around very precise chemical standards. If a shop uses an unapproved additive and something goes wrong, liability becomes a major issue. So most professional mechanics avoid anything outside OM specifications entirely. That's where the banned narrative usually comes from. It's not a ban on a substance, it's a restriction on professional use in regulated service environments. And those are very different things. Now let's address the most important question. Can a cheap additive actually fix a slipping transmission? Sometimes, a transmission that feels like it's slipping is actually suffering from a simpler issue. Low fluid level, old, degraded fluid, a clogged filter, or even electrical control issues like faulty solenoids. In those cases, a proper service can absolutely restore performance. Fresh fluid alone can make a dramatic difference because old fluid loses viscosity, stability, and friction properties over time. But that's not the same as rebuilding worn clutch packs or repairing internal damage. No additive can restore material that is physically worn away. No fluid can reverse heat damage to friction surfaces. And no chemical can remachine internal metal components inside a sealed transmission. That's the part viral videos rarely explain clearly. There's also a hidden risk that most people don't think about. Even if a substance improves one aspect of performance temporarily, it can disrupt others. A transmission is a balanced system. Change one variable, and you affect all the others. You might improve shift smoothness, but reduce clutch holding strength. You might reduce noise, but increase heat. You might delay slipping, but accelerate long-term wear. And by the time the damage becomes noticeable, the transmission is already in worse shape than before. That's why manufacturers are extremely strict about fluid formulations. It's not about preventing innovation. It's about protecting a system that depends on chemical precision. So why do these miracle fluid stories keep going viral? Because they tap into something real. Modern car repair is expensive, transmissions are complex, and most drivers don't understand what's happening inside them. So when someone offers a simple, cheap solution, it feels like hidden knowledge. But in reality, most transmission longevity doesn't come from secret additives. It comes from boring, consistent maintenance, regular fluid changes, using the correct specification fluid, fixing small issues early before they escalate, avoiding overheating and heavy strain when the system is already worn. Those are the things that actually extend transmission life by tens of thousands of miles, not shortcuts. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't want to hear. If a transmission is truly failing due to internal wear, there is no $2 fix. There is no bottle that reverses mechanical damage, and there is no secret mechanic trick that replaces proper repair. But here's the flip side. A huge percentage of bad transmissions people panic about are not actually fully failed. They're just neglected, and those cases often respond very well to proper diagnostics and standard service. That's where the real money-saving opportunity exists, not in miracle fluids, but in not letting small problems become big ones. So where does that leave this viral $2 fluid story? It leaves it exactly where most internet automotive myths end up. A mix of historical experimentation, misunderstood engineering, and exaggerated claims that spread faster than technical explanations. Not everything in the story is invented, but the conclusions people draw from it often are. And that distinction matters more than anything else, because your transmission doesn't care about viral trends. It only responds to physics, heat, pressure, and chemistry. At the end of the day, the real takeaway isn't about a hidden additive. It's about understanding what your vehicle actually needs before it reaches the point of failure. Because once a transmission starts slipping seriously, the clock is already ticking. And the cheapest fix is almost always the one done early, not the one discovered online after the damage is done. If you found this breakdown helpful, like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into automotive myths, real mechanical science, and the truth behind viral car hacks that don't always hold up under inspection. And in the comments, share your experience. Have you ever been told your transmission was done, and it turned out to be something much simpler?